Hello, everyone, and welcome to our first CraftyJoy Podcast.
Yes, today we are going to talk about growth. Growth is our word for the month. I don't know if you guys know this, but behind the scenes, we decided for 2025, the creative team and the marketing team, we all decided that each month we're going to pick a word as our theme, and the whole collection is actually built around that theme. So past months, January was imagination, February was self-love, March was a renewal, and April is growth, and it's growing your skills. That's what we're talking about today.
Yes, and if you have been a part of our group for a while, you would have seen our past months before this year kind of had more solid, literal themes, and this year we're taking it into this more conceptual, and I think it's a really beautiful thing to explore.
Yeah.
So this month's theme is growth, and we're talking all about the different aspects of growth in your creativity and all of the growth that we're doing together. And speaking of growth, we are growing into this new exciting podcast format.
Trying something new.
So we're trying something new.
So make sure you let us know what you think, what topics we can talk about. But
yeah. And if you don't know who we are, I am Emily, and
I am Lia,
and we're with LiaGriffith.com.
All right.
So do you want to talk at all about what CraftyJoy is?
Yeah. So CraftyJoy also is sort of a new, our new birth of our company. We wanted to take, we've been talking about just how to craft for a long time, and just the actual literal form of crafting, creating. And you know me, I have a deeper side, and you do too. We both do. And I really wanted to go deeper and more soulful. And what we know this because all of our members not all of our members, but a lot of members tell us, we get emails weekly about how crafting has really changed their life. And it's a very soulful experience. It's a very healing experience.
Yeah.
So CraftyJoy is probably a little bit more of Lia behind the scenes, and bringing it forward and sharing that side of myself. But it's also our whole team. It's not just me. Really sharing something beyond just making crafts. It's going a deeper dive.
And I love this. And I think a lot of people have been wanting to kind of get to know you a little bit more. This is a really great way to do it. I have the gift of knowing you my whole life.
Yes.
So I think it's a really cool thing to get to know you a little bit on this other side. And I know for me, crafting and my art practice has been so incredibly empowering.
Yeah.
It's just given me this sense of, okay, even if I'm not good at something at the start, a little bit of forward momentum, and just keep pushing forward, and you really see the effects of continuing the process.
And I think I'm going to segue here for just a second, but this is not on script. We don't have script. But I feel like the whole purpose of this business has always been to give people that doorway to step into creativity and to step into finding that joy inside of them by using their hands in crafting.
Yeah.
So
not only joy, but also the power of using your hands.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. So our first topic we have is the growing your skills, and a lot of this goes into our theme of spring. And we wanted to talk a little bit about just our memories of spring. If we have any favorite memories of spring. I know for me, Easter has always been a big thing in our family, in our little family unit.
Yes.
I have a lot of memories of you making my Easter basket every year. That was the whole thing. It was always a little bunny and a pajama set.
Bunny.
Yeah.
So I had to make these. Yes.
Yes. You made one and I made one.
Yes, this was a little collaborative project between Emily and I. And if I were making you an Easter basket this year, this would be right inside. So
the floppy bunny, and they've got little beans on their feet. So.
Yes. Super cute.
Yeah, and I always love the pajamas specifically. Like, what a cute tradition.
We would always do Easter in pajamas, and I would make a lot of her pajamas. In fact, I actually had a clothing line at that point that I developed and sold.
This was a long time ago.
This is a long time ago.
Maybe we should do that this year.
Do pajamas.
Easter pajamas.
I like it. Let's do it. Okay. We're on.
Great. Do you have any favorite memories of spring?
Well, yeah. I have always loved Easter. You know it, and it was really about surprising and delighting you. And again, that's something that I try to bring to this company is pulling together and curating these projects with the team, because it's not just me, it's all of us together, that every month we surprise and delight all of our members with new fresh ideas. And so that's kind of my favorite memory.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
And speaking of spring, of course, we can't skip spring flowers.
No, I know.
What are your favorite spring flowers?
Okay, well, I have so many favorite flowers, but I have to say tulips are probably my all-time favorite flower.
We actually have some tulips sitting right here.
We do. Crepe paper. In fact, this one, as soon as we're done with this, as we're done recording this, I'm going to hop over and do a little video tutorial so you guys can have this. But this is a beginner tulip. But a little side note, and I don't know if you knew this, back in the day when you were little, when I had my little clothing line going, we opened up a little kids' clothing store, and it was called Essie Baby.
Yeah.
The logo was a tulip.
Oh,
yes,
cute.
So
this is when I was a very wee little baby.
I think you were like 2.
Yeah.
So of course you don't remember that.
No, I don't really remember. I remember the play area.
Yeah,
that's all I remember.
We had a play area in the store. It was a lot of fun. So tulips, I love tulips, but you know me, any flower, all flowers. These beautiful violets. Last night I went to a little farm to table, and she did violet mocktails with the fresh violets.
Yummy.
So, and we set this out on the table.
Cute.
Yeah.
Yes, I know. I think my favorite spring flowers are always the really this ones that have the good smells. So for me, it's Daphne. I always look forward to Daphne blooming, which we don't have. It's a little too small to make, but I always, as soon as I see a Daphne bush, I'll cross the street and go stick my face in it. Yeah. One of my favorite smells.
Oh yeah, I want to go back to tulips for a second, because this is actually a really fun thing. So growing your skills, going back to that. How you're a self-trained artist, and you're very, very good. I went to art school. You didn't, and she knocks it out of the park. I'm just saying. So I plopped this on your desk the other day, and I'm like, teach us how to watercolor, Emily.
So I did. I didn't go to art school, but I did go to hair school. And when I remember the day that I started beauty school, I literally was like, should I have gone to art school? And that's when I started drawing again in my adult life. And I was 20. And started picking up my art practice again, and started from basically the ground up, and just completely self-taught, and I love it. But watercolor was my first love. Traditional art in general, I just love the tactile feeling of it. So I did a little video for you guys and talked about some basic watercolor tips to make your watercolors just look a little more popping, some basic techniques, so you guys can go check that out on this post.
It's like adult coloring, except for better.
And even if you don't want to paint this specifically, the watercolor tips in there they go for everything, any form of watercolor. Yeah,
they do. And this is printable. You can put it on watercolor and then just go ahead and do it. But it's super easy, super fun, like a fun thing to do on the side in a few minutes that you have. And it helps grow your skills, I think. Yeah.
And I think like I said, watercolor and any form of traditional medium is just, there's something so satisfying about just playing with art in the real world and trusting yourself and trusting the process. I think my process is pretty chaotic, honestly, as an artist, but I like that about it. Yeah. Just trust the process.
Yeah, and kind of let go. I think that again is going back to growth. I feel like if I'm designing something like this, okay, we'll talk about this for a sec. So I sat down on a weekend. I took this home because I needed just space, and sat and developed it and worked on it. And you should have seen the chaos around it.
Yeah.
I did multiple iterations. I did a few things. I'm like, I don't like that. I want to try something different. But just leaning into the process.
Look at this, everybody. Oh my God, this little hot glue bug. I freaked out when I saw it.
Yeah, it's a ladybug now because I actually put spots on it.
Okay, well, and I was going to say this actually perfectly ties into the next bullet point of our growth. This is growth through experimentation.
Yeah, exactly.
You did this by failing.
Yeah, exactly.
Failing, because it's not really a failure.
No.
Several times before you came up with something that is absolutely gorgeous, and I can't wait to learn to make this.
Yeah. Yeah, and if any one of you made our Amanita mushroom, mushroom that was red from last year, I actually kicked it up a couple notches with a couple new techniques. So we will have a full workshop on this. So mark your calendars.
Yeah.
Get on our email list, and you'll get the note when that one's coming out.
Yeah. And speaking of growth through experimentation, I can talk about a little bit of some really exciting stuff that I'm experimenting with, and this kind of side project that I've taken on. It's called Threadlings, and it's based off of our Pocket Pals, and it's kind of this whole new variation of it. So you might see this little guy creeping in over here. This is Lily. She is our gardener, and we're going to be doing a full set of fun little characters. Here's some more. This is our little bunny. We have 4 of them that are going to be soft launching here in our shop soon before we release the full set slowly of all 14 characters. They all have little personalities, accessories, outfits, and stories to go with them.
And, again, I watched you go through this process because you had multiple iterations.
Oh my gosh.
Multiple test runs. I mean, multiple fails.
Yeah, I think I literally made 8 different versions of this cat. This was my first one that I made. I think I have 8 of these floating around.
To get it right.
To get it right. And this was the one that I ended up really liking.
And in that process, look how much, I feel like you're much more grounded in this, and I feel like you've gotten some esteem around making this collection.
Yeah, well, and it was also a really cool process because now I can teach it. So that was, I feel like, irreplaceable knowledge.
Yeah, that's really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I really encourage all artists, all creative people, at least in my journey, like there's nothing like just leaning into the process and accepting that something not coming out perfect is part of learning.
I want to pull up another memory.
Yeah.
Okay, you know this. My family, my lineage, my parents.
Our family.
Our family, hers. But like my parents, we tend to just jump off cliffs. So
we do.
My favorite memory, my favorite story is my mother. She was probably about my age. And she decided that the church needed new stained glass windows. And she had never made a stained glass window in her life.
Yeah.
And took on the project and made these ginormous, beautiful stained glass windows.
Like 20 feet tall.
Yeah.
Stained glass windows. They were there my whole childhood growing up. I went to this church with my grandparents several times, and I remember when they took them down, my grandpa was pretty heartbroken.
Yeah. Well, they were up there for a really long time, but
40 years.
Yeah, I love that story though because she had no fear. She just leaned in.
She did it.
And did it. Learned how to do it.
Yeah.
Learned from mistakes or non-mistakes.
And I love that. But yeah, I think we definitely both share that trait. We're just like, should we figure out how to do this? All right, let's go. Let's do it.
Yeah.
So, fearless experimentation. Keep going.
Yeah.
And then our next little point here is growth through repetition, which is actually we've kind of talked about this already.
But I have something I want to add to that. So the repetition, this is a perfect example of how, this company is now in its 13th year. And I started out by myself, and then we started to bring in other creatives. And between myself and Megan and just I look back at the original crepe paper flowers and I'm like, oh, those are super basic and simple. And some of them were kind of updating, including this tulip. And, just the repetition of using the material and learning the material and understanding how we can add new techniques, I think has really brought us an amazing opportunity of growth in what we deliver and serve out to our community. And, both Megan and I have grown a lot. We learn from each other. And it's all about repetition. And we're hoping that, our learnings and our mistakes and our ability to expand really trickles out to our whole community.
Well, and the thing too is like all of these older flowers that you see as simple, some people maybe love and they like the simplicity of that.
I agree with that. And I think what I'm rolling back for, like this tulip, it's still simple, but we're using a technique that might be easier to do. And that also
now you have all that practice.
Yes, and it has more longevity. I think those two things.
Yeah, it really smooths out with repetition. It smooths out the process. You figure out what works, what doesn't, all this stuff, and not giving up. Just keep going. Embrace the imperfections and just keep going.
I love that.
Yeah. And I think that another way that you can really find a lot of support in your journey, your creative journey, is your community. And creating community, building we can craft together, do art together, honestly cook together. And community is just such a beautiful way to support yourself through your creative journey.
I think so, and that's been a real big focus for 2025, and that's why we've been doing the Crafternoons. We're doing one every month. This month it's a little different because we're doing the mushroom project. Bring your friends. Absolutely, this is something that everybody can sit down and do together. Is creating these Crafternoons to give opportunity for our members to invite people in to their creative world who may have never done anything like this before, and start to build their little communities in their own area. Yeah. So that's a really big one for us.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. And I think just kind of worldwide right now, we're all feeling the desire to cultivate more intentional communities. And I know, and within my own friend circle, there's been a lot more intentional time put into small gatherings. We're all like co-working, or what's called parallel play, where we all just hang out and work on something of our own choice.
We do craft nights.
With
a circle of my friends. Knitting, crocheting, embroidery, whatever, and we just sit and talk and drink tea. So community, I think, is a really great way to grow.
Community and leaning into mutual support.
Absolutely. And of course, we hope that, here, our little virtual community kind of helps stoke that fire of doing something, in the 3D.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also it gives us the opportunity to do things with a lot of intentionality. And so having this really intentional growth and putting our mind towards our goals is really important.
It is important.
And speaking of our goals,
yes. Okay, so this is so cute. I just loved this whole idea. So Jessie, who's right here on the camera, she sent me a note the other day, and she was like, "I'm just rambling," and she was talking about how her partner Pete, her husband Pete, was talking about how because we're doing our goals and how we think we can achieve everything in 1 year, and sometimes we kind of fall short on that. But what he said was, we underestimate what we can achieve in 3 years. So we had this idea to write ourselves a love letter to ourselves in 3 years. And in doing that, it's kind of setting that intention, like setting that path of where you see yourself in 3 years. Do you have any other thoughts on that, Jessie? You'll have to talk loud.
Here, we'll show our letter.
Yes.
Get that top cam back up. There we go. It's so cute. This is optional stationery that you can download if you want to use this.
We'll tell you about that in a sec. Yes, Jessie.
Yeah, make sure you leave your letter somewhere it won't get wet.
Oh, yes. There we go.
She had a personal anecdote about that one.
Yes. So they buried it in the backyard, and then there was a flood. But anyway, so I designed this cute little letterhead. It says, a love letter to me in 3 years. And then we have the little cutout envelope that you can make. It's all in the same PDF. A love letter to myself to open on this date. You can write the date right there. So if you want this cute little template, I'm going to go do this, this weekend. Go ahead and make sure you're on our email list, and we'll send this out as a link so you can download this and do a little self-love and intentionality.
Well, if you don't mind me asking,
yes,
where do you see yourself in 3 years? If you were to say maybe one thing or like 2 goals in your 3 years.
I should have thought about this.
This is a surprise question.
In 3 years, I feel like in 3 years, my biggest goal is to grow this community, to grow this, the CraftyJoy community, because that's kind of more the direction we're going, and to be able to reach more people. And it's about, it's about spreading the love and the joy with this company. I'm very, I want to just drip as much love and joy into the world as possible.
Right. Well, on that note, like specifically, I know that you have kind of felt, it's been 13 years of this company and doing kind of not the same thing, but a lot of, and this is like a really beautiful refresh renewal.
Yeah.
I'm feeling you're re-energized towards all of this new sharing that you're doing, and we hope that you enjoy it as much as I and the rest of the team enjoy seeing it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Well, it takes a village, and we have our own small little village here in this office, and we all are pretty excited about the future.
Yay!
Yes, we are. So we didn't talk about the crafts, but you can go find we did a little bit. You can go find our whole collection that's sitting here on this table over at liagriffith.com. And we have this monthly collection of 16 beautiful things that you can make, and all the tutorials and templates are right there.
Yeah, and you can find any of the tools and materials that we use to make these things over on our shop, Felt Paper Scissors.
All right.
And we hope you enjoyed this little experiment today.
And and we'll see you next month for episode 2.
Woo! Bye.